All right, hey everybody, 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins here. Been a little while since we've been on live with you. Weather's been really quiet, but that's not necessarily going to be the case coming this weekend. So I wanted to jump on here, kind of give you an update of what we're looking at. You've probably heard that we're talking about the chance for a Gulf storm this upcoming weekend, a low pressure developing out over the Gulf and then moving right up towards Florida. That's looking a little bit more and more likely as we get closer to it. It's a Saturday afternoon, Saturday night time frame and into early Sunday morning. Then things will gradually be clearing during the day on Sunday. So let's talk about it here. Obviously, you can see the picture we've got here. This is just what's going on now. Kind of a mix of sun and clouds out there for at least the Tampa area, but look at South Florida. I mean, they're seeing quite a bit of rain down there. And that trend will kind of continue through the evening hours for them. Now, the bigger picture, where we're focused here, is actually out here in the Gulf of Mexico, north of the Yucatan Peninsula. Somewhere right in here, we're going to start to see a low pressure system develop. And it's basically just going to track off to the northeast like this, right? And then that's what we'll be swinging through here. So let's just start with the overall picture first of all. This is the European forecast model. Number one, we've had that high pressure to the north and lower pressures to the south, right? High up here, lower pressures down here. You see all these lines? Those are equal lines of pressure, isobars, right? When they get that close together, we get wind. It's called a pressure gradient. That's why we have that wind that's out there right now. That's that east to northeast breeze that you're seeing there, right? That's the difference between a high well to the north and one to the south. Now, let me put this into motion, and I want to show you this low developing out over the Gulf of Mexico. There it is by Saturday afternoon. Look how far out away it is from us, right? The actual low. Now, this does not look like it will develop as a tropical system. There's some upper level energy. That's not what tropical systems do. However, there is warm water underneath this. And so I'll talk about that aspect in a little bit. But first, let me get to this. Whatever this is, the leading edge of this, the northeast side, is the weather that we're going to have to watch for. So this is 2 o'clock. Yeah, we have some scattered showers already in, but not a lot. Wind's out of the east. It's breezy. Let's go out to 9 o'clock. And now, let me just warn you here. These times are going to change because the European's been much later in the evening, Saturday night, overnight, into Sunday morning. Meanwhile, the GFS has been earlier. But here we go, 9 o'clock. You see the yellow here? This will be a line of showers and storms. Maybe more than a line, I think. But probably only about a 2 or 3 hour period, maybe 4, where they come through. So maybe 10 p.m. Saturday through 2 a.m. Sunday. And you see all these little spots in here, showers and thunderstorms. But what's happening is, see the wind going around like this? That wind starts out like this, then goes like this, then goes like that. I mean, it's a mess, right? That type of spin in the atmosphere can give us twisters, can give us tornadoes, water spouts, that type of thing. So this batch of showers and storms you see here, when it comes through, and again, the timing may change, that's what we have to watch for: severe weather, okay? Now, I'm going to talk more about the wind here coming up, but notice the wind's coming in out of the south and the west right here. That's actually, if the wind's high enough, that's enough to push water up into the bay and cause a little bit of high tide issues, right? A little bit of storm surge, believe it or not. But let's keep going with this part of it. I'll talk about that coming up. Now, this is 8 o'clock on Sunday morning. The low is here. Look where all the weather is now. Most of it's out here and to our north. There will be some showers coming back down on the backside, but a cold front's coming through, and that's going to bring in much cooler and drier air. But look at the winds. They start blowing onshore Saturday night, and then by Sunday morning, they're blowing onshore from the northwest. So this is piling up water here along the coast. So that's a separate issue. Okay, so there's 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon. You can see the low is up here, and as a matter of fact, it'll continue to move up and become a nor'easter. I'll show you that coming up. Here's the GFS model. So the GFS has been doing something in this area almost the last 2 or 3 days. The European was down here, was having the storm come out like this, kind of doing something like this and out, right? The GFS has always been kind of like this. Today, it started coming way up here by the panhandle. Now it's back up here now. Yeah, nothing worked on Facebook. Mine neither. Sorry, guys. Bottom line is they are getting a little bit closer, but see all these isobars? That's a lot of wind, right? That's a deep pressure in here, lowering pressures. I'm not going to go into numbers yet. I'll show you some of those coming up, but the model runs are just going to keep flip-flopping. But the bottom line is, if this happens, this is Saturday at 8 p.m., we've got wind, rain, showers and storms, and a chance for severe weather Saturday night. Right? This is 1 in the morning, Sunday morning. I think our severe weather threat would be over by then if this was right, at least as far as storms go. But then we still have this wind coming on shore here. Okay, and then by Sunday at noon, now we've got the backshore winds still, the backside winds on the northwest, and still you've got all your severe weather sitting out in here and perhaps to the north as well too. That's east of us. So that's the two models for now. Let me show you the European as far as the wind goes. Look at all this wind, guys. This is what we're seeing now. I mean, the East Coast is taking the brunt of it. Again, lower pressures down here, higher pressures well up here, say over Ohio. And that's pressure gradient in between is giving us this wind. Watch this area right in here. Okay, I'm going to put it into motion. Watch right in here. There it is. You see the low starting to develop in here? Now, this water is warm anywhere from, let me draw a line here. Anywhere from here, loop currents right in here. And in fact, it does extend down in here. But all of this is above 80 degrees, okay? So the low is developing over 80-degree water, right? However, there's a big trough coming down here. And that's the reason why this low is even developing. Normally, you have a great big high-pressure system over top of tropics. So is this a tropical system? And I'll talk a little bit more about it. No. It's developing a little bit differently than tropical systems do, but it is developing over warmer water. So subtropical, maybe. Subtropical vents, maybe the NHC wants to get involved, I don't know. But what I want to show you is the wind. So here's we go for Saturday at 10 p.m. for the European. Now this is kind of a subtropical or non-tropical. We don't have a lot of wind wrapped all the way around the center. Look at the wind out here is higher, and the wind on the north is higher than anything we have down here in the south. Okay, so tropical systems have the highest winds right around the center. Non-tropical systems have them further away. This picture right here, the low should actually be right here. This is looking like it's wrapping up quite a bit of wind around the center. See, that's getting less and less and less. That's starting to look a little subtropical to me. So that's why I say the Hurricane Center may even get involved in here. But the bottom line is, either way, this water right here along our coast is very cool. So this would not be developing tropically as it moves onshore, but it may be developing what we call baroclinically, the cooler, drier air, warmer, moist air coming up from here. Either way, it would deepen this low, and you end up with this wind. You see this wind coming in here? And that's Saturday night. That's pushing water up against the coast, up into the bay. So you end up with a little bit of a surge. Now watch as we go through Sunday morning. And now look at this wind. It's got it coming in this way. And then watch midday. Now it's really coming in. So all in all, this is pushing water starting late Saturday afternoon. It's going to start pushing water up along our coast. The winds will probably be about 35, 45 with gusts in the 50s, right? Maybe. But then look what it does. This is Sunday night. Look at the Carolinas. Man, oh man, they're getting just nailed right there. That's 45, 55 mile per hour winds with higher gusts coming across the Albemarle, the Pamlico Sounds, I mean, of course, the Outer Banks. Wilmington will get it. Morehead City, especially Beaufort. You're going to get some higher than normal tides. My friends there in Onslow County expect probably about 2 to 3 foot at least with this 45, 50 knot wind coming in there. That's going to push a lot of water in there. And then look at, the Carolinas get it, of course, but then up in the Delmarva, that's a nor'easter, guys. That's literally almost a nor'easter sitting right there with all this wind coming onshore here. So it's trying to develop. Now, the GFS model, well, I got this view. It comes in here and keeps it right in here more than anything else. The European kind of brings it right up along the coast. If it's closer to the coast, it'll do more of this nor'easter. If it's further inland, it'll weaken a little bit more. But it looks like these two are trying to come together with some kind of solution here right in the middle. Okay, now obviously rainfall will come with this. Again, not a prolonged period of rainfall, but it looks like Saturday night plans, you're really gonna have to keep an eye on them. And we could get some of these numbers that you see here in the dark reds. That's 3 to 5 inches of rainfall. So I would say 2 to 4, 1 to 4 is probably a good number. See the purples in there, about 2 inches. So I'd say about 1 to 4 inches of rainfall is possible with this. And I don't think that's the major issue for us. But remember, if that rain is falling and you've got higher than normal tides, that water's got nowhere to go. You can see the rain moving up the coast here as well, all the way up through the Carolinas, some heavy rainfall, and this will actually extend a little bit more up into New York. So here's what we need to know. Let's talk basics here. In the Tampa area now through Friday, breezy east to northeast winds. In fact, we'll keep it through midday on Saturday, but Saturday we'll start to see the change to a southeast and south wind and eventually southwest Saturday night. That timing may change a little bit, and just how much wind, still don't know. I'd say 20 to 35, and then you've got those gusts in the 40s and 50s that I was talking about as it comes through. So strong to severe storms Saturday afternoon or evening hours. GFS would say late afternoon in the evening. The European would say after 10 p.m. through about 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. So I think it's about a 4-hour window of concern where we're going to have some storms that could produce isolated tornadoes, waterspouts, and wind gusts. But there's a lot of spin in the atmosphere because of that low moving over it. So because of that wind, we've got a coastal flood issue that we're going to have to watch for. No watches, no warnings, anything like that at this point. But I'm just thinking, look at some of the numbers, and I'll show you these coming up. We could be looking at basically, we could be looking at 2 to 3 foot of surge, and that's really tough right now. Let me show you over here. This is Sarah. This is a coastal emergency risk assessment thing that we have here. And I want to zoom in here on you and show you the Tampa. Well, first of all, let me zoom out. You see the greens here up towards Crystal River? That's saying, right there in the Crystal River, that's saying like the average tide, well, is, before this would be on the Friday, would be about a foot and a half. That could go 4.5 feet. And that would be early Sunday morning, right? And so what that is, that's a surge of about 3 feet in the Crystal River area, okay? Now let's come down here inside the bay. Let's go in towards Bayshore. Davis Island's here. The day before, the high tide is about 3/4 of a foot. Then it's 4 feet Sunday morning, just before sunrise. So this is just a model right now, but we've got to watch this. That's 2 to 4 foot of surge possible inside the bay, and that goes up into Oldsmar, right? That's going to same thing in Oldsmar. You can see those numbers there. Look, the day before, 1 foot. The morning of Sunday morning, we're talking 4 foot. So that's a 3 foot difference. Okay. Now you get out on the beaches and it'll be a little bit different. Clearwater typically doesn't have too many issues there, but you can even see that there. 1.2 on Saturday, high tide of 3.4. So that's a little over a foot there. Obviously, the further north you go, Hernando Beach, you get up towards Pine Island. These areas, Pine Island, we're at 1.5 on Saturday, and then up to 4 on Sunday morning. So what's that, 2.5, right? And then it gets even a little bit more. You get up in the Crystal. Actually, it gives us a forecast for Crystal River, and this is saying almost 5 foot surge up there. That would be about 3 to 4 feet above normal. So this will change. Every model run that comes in, this changes as well too. But that is something that we are keeping an eye on and something that we need to continue to watch. So let's talk a little bit more in the models here. Here's the latest European model, and it is a little bit earlier in the day. This is about what time? This is about 10 p.m. And you see it just really kind of jumps through. I mean, this would just be rain. That right there is what I'm concerned about. And that would be midnight, 10 p.m. Saturday night, midnight. By 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Sunday, most of the severe weather threats, as far as storms and tornadoes, is gone. Okay. In fact, a lot of the rain will be gone at that point, at least for the Tampa area. Now, talk about the wind, and here you go. Let's look at the wind. This is Saturday morning around sunrise. Let me stop it around sunrise right here. Okay. Let's go to Saturday afternoon. It's 4 p.m. Wind still blowing offshore from the east to the west. Now look what happens by 11 p.m. Saturday. You see this southerly wind, especially down towards Fort Myers. Now in the green here, basically that's 20s, speeds in the 20s. But then watch as we go overnight. Now look, it's a very broad low, right? It's light winds over the state, but it's trying to wrap up out here. And so it's a non-tropical system trying to go tropical, or at least trying to organize. And when I see higher winds around the center here, that's some indication that it's tropical. But again, this water out here is very cold. So this will not be a pure tropical system, but subtropical is possible. All right, so a lot to say there. One other thing about how it starts. This is the 500 millibar levels. This is looking high up in the atmosphere, right? as I mentioned, tropical systems form under high pressure systems. So you would see like Alabama, Mississippi, this area right here. Watch the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Watch this area down here at the bottom as we go through tonight into Friday night, and this is Saturday. That is a lower pressure developing way high in the atmosphere, right? That is not a type of system that lets tropical systems vent. So when those storms go up into the clouds, they tend to spread out. That's not happening here. So that is non-tropical. See the trough? There's a closed off low here. It's actually kind of two of them, and a trough dipping down, and that's what's generating this low pressure over the Gulf. Plus there's cooler, drier air here, warm, moist air here. That's called baroclinic process. There's a lot here that explains that this is non-tropical, but it really isn't going to matter depending on how the wind comes in. You know what I mean? I don't expect a lot of wind out of this. We'll get back to this now. I don't expect a whole lot of wind out of this, but I do expect 30s, 40s, perhaps some gusts in the 50s. And my main concern is going to be those tornadoes, a small window for a chance of those tornadoes, and then what kind of coastal issues we're going to have out of this. All right. Now, obviously, we have small craft advisories through Saturday morning. Keep them through Sunday as well too. This is canceled boat parades, that type of thing. That kind of stinks. But that's where we're looking at right now, guys. So we'll keep you updated here. We'll be on air, of course, at 5 o'clock this evening to give you the very latest in the forecast models. And don't forget to follow me on all my platforms here. YouTube, Bobby Deskins Weather, Facebook page. You got X, Bobby D Weather. I'm on LinkedIn. I don't do that. I'm on it, but I don't do it. Also on TikTok. Yeah, I'm on TikTok, and of course on Instagram. So check out from all my stuff there, and you'll get some updates throughout the next couple of days. All right, guys, nothing to panic about right now. Not a big deal, but again, a couple small windows for severe storms, and we'll have to see what that wind wants to do and how much water wants to push around.
Several verified viewers have texted